Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Rise for the pledge of allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Jim Dodge.
Here.
Thomas Bonner.
Here.
Michelle Beatty. Here. Kurt Lynn.
Here.
Aaron DeBerg.
Here.
Angie Hopkins. Here. I'm here. Tricia Hoff. Here. Jeff Buckmeyer. Oh, John, you're here for Jeff, is that correct? Are you here for Jeff or finance?
Yeah, I'm here for finance.
So we have John Sturgeon. Jerry Harris.
Here.
Murray Collins. Here. Beth Treadway. Here. Joe Strange. Todd.
Here.
Kathy Cumbie.
Alrighty, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve that.
All in favor?
Aye.
General Manager's report.
We've been talking a lot about our drawdown I do on the large lake. So essentially, we are going to abandon the old drawdown pipe that we used to lower the lake prior to, I think, 1982. Since then, we've used the gates. So we have dam permits, so we have to have a permit from DNR to do that. And we applied for that permit back in. Please. Yeah, so we applied for that permit back in September, and they recently returned comments for the contractor. The contractors responded, so now we're waiting final review. Aside from that, the clubhouse is gonna be closed December 26th through the 30th for some flooring repairs. We're still gonna be open on the 31st for our New Year's Eve party. We've been working on emptying the silt basin at Duello Road, so we're starting 5 years before the next drought. 3 or so, give or take. And it's been very successful. The hope is that it will save the association money and not have the need to hire contractors towards the end of the beginning of the next dredging cycle. So this morning, for example, we had over 100 trucks before 11 o'clock. So we're making a lot of really good progress. With that in mind, the committees have been discussing that the need to replace our excavator is emergent. So the intention is to try to get consensus on replacing or with either new or used before the end of January, if at all possible. And then our annual assessment mailing will go out in December. And the city of Lake St. Louis and I and several residents, along with the city of Wentzville, have been working on the Peru Creek issue as far as the continuing issue with silt coming into the lake. We all know that it's getting more frequent, more current, and so we did obtain a proposal to update the watershed study for Peru Creek, which is the first step to obtaining state funding and federal funding to assist in the restoration of the creek. And so the city of Lake St. Louis is going to discuss that at their meeting tomorrow night, and the hope is our board will be able to discuss it in January to try to figure out funding, who's going to pay for the updated plan. So we're working, as I said, with Wentzville and also St. Charles County. And that concludes my report.
So board report, I'm going to change things up a little bit here. Welcome everybody. It's nice to see so many people here. I'm imagining that most of you are here to discuss the boat fees. Is that what people are here for? So Beth, are you prepared to possibly give your report ahead of time? So what I'm going to do, we're going to go ahead and move straight to the committee report for Lakes and Parks, if that's all right, and then we're going to give you guys a chance to comment. As we give you a chance to comment, I'm going to ask everybody to be respectful, and also keep in mind that we got a lot of people here, and we do have an agenda to get through. So if somebody else has made your point, we don't need duplicate points made. We're going to listen to everybody, and I also want to let everybody know that we are not going to vote on this tonight. We are going to make sure that you all have an opportunity to comment on this and to give your input to the board, and that our intention is that we'll actually vote on this proposal on the next meeting, which will be in December. Typically, the board does not have a meeting in December. Under the circumstances, we feel like the fact that this really came to light to most of the public on last week. Some people knew about it earlier than others, but it was certainly last week was when people found out. We need to give you all an opportunity to give feedback to us before we implement anything. So we're gonna hear the motion tonight, and then we're gonna hear feedback. We'll be able to talk about these on the Facebook community post and whatnot. So we will be monitoring the feedback, and of course you can email me and you can email Heather. But we are not actually going to vote on the proposal to increase boat fees tonight. With that being said, fire away, Beth. Wait, Beth, could you sit on the? Yeah, since we're recording this, I hate to make you sit in the hot seat, but.
Recommendation to the board is that they approve the 10% increase reflected in the proposed 2024 boat restoration fees with the following changes. That Class 1 boats become $25, and Class 5 boats would be $323.40, which would put them the same as Class 6, 7, and 8 boats.
So that is the motion, and that is, I believe, the hot button topic of the night. So if people would want to raise their hand to be acknowledged and to come up and make comments on it, come on up. Please come up and have a seat. Yeah, we're trying to make sure that everybody can be recorded so that this can be listened to on our YouTube channel. And also, there's a limit of 5 minutes per comment. And if you could keep it shorter, we'd sure appreciate it. Oh, did you sign in to speak?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Your name?
My name is Rich Spiener. CA member since 2000. I have a 19-foot wood boat, inline, 4-cylinder, 120 horsepower. That makes it out on the lake 3 or 4 times a year. It's the only wood boat out there. And I don't think I should have to pay the same as a Class 8. A V6 or a V8, 100 horsepower. Where's the justification there? I don't get it. That's all I have.
Okay. I appreciate the comment. Yeah, I think so. I think that was a point of order mistake by me. Tricia? Oh gosh, list. You want to call on people?
Les and Mary Cassidy.
Yeah, I'm Les Cassidy, lived at 14 Normandy, been in the CA for over 5 years now. And we just got our boat slipped 2 years ago. We have a 25-year-old pontoon boat with 115 horse motor on it. We just putt around in the same circle that everybody else does. And from what I'm seeing, the percent increase for this one particular motor size group.
Can we correct that?
Yeah, it's not correct.
Okay,
It's 40%.
It's not.
No, it's 20, yeah.
Is it
Yeah, it's not
26?
40.
Somebody
Compared to
posted
everybody
that
else.
the
Yeah.
fees were
Put that
220,
on Facebook.
and they're not.
And that post is inaccurate in that it's not, it's 50 to 99 is class 4 still, and 100 to 150 is class 5.
Yeah. So a lot of people are upset about the percentage, but it wasn't accurate.
It wasn't accurate.
what is the actual percentage?
20.
For a class 5,
26,
for
I
what
think,
they,
actually.
what they motioned was around 26%.
The
Thank you.
increase. But everybody else is getting 10%, and
Right.
this one particular group is being
For their
singled out for the largest increase.
Right.
And I don't think that's equitable. That it should be spread out so that others that may have an 85 horse that doesn't do any more than my 115 does, paying less money. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody, can we speak up? For the people in the back that can't hear.
My name's Joe Bull. I think, everybody here, everybody I know in this CA doesn't mind paying money, you just need more money. I just don't understand why one group of people should be the ones to pay. It seems like if you want to raise the rates, just raise them for everybody. Just, do 15% or whatever it takes for everybody to get to your goal. I just don't see a point in raising one group, and like I said, I know you guys spend the money wisely. We do, we want to keep the place nice, but everybody benefits from the lake being nice, not just people who own Class 5 boats. Even if you don't own a boat, you benefit. When we first met, we didn't own a boat, but we love driving across the lake and looking at the lake. And so everyone benefits from the lake being nice. If you need money, everybody should pay.
So sir, I'll be honest with you, I am not in favor of this motion, but I will let you and anyone else hear why I think the motion was made this way. It was almost exactly the point that you were making, that you go around the lake in much the same way as the 6, 7, and 8s go around the lake.
Well, more
so
like
why
a
is
canoer.
So why is it not the same? Can I?
Okay, I'm sorry.
So that is why Lakes and Parks, I believe, made this recommendation, is because Class 5s, in some opinion, I told you not mine, in some opinion, Class 5s have been getting a break for years, for decades, and maybe shouldn't be getting that break. Again, has to be decided. It's good that we have a conversation. We're not trying to persecute a group. There is there is an opinion out there of people that 5s can make just as big a wake as 6, 7s, and 8s. 5s can go just as fast as 6, 7s, and 8s. So why doesn't 5 pay the same as 6, 7, and 8?
Well, again, you're singling out a group. But there's people that have 90 horsepower, and their 90s probably are faster than mine. 115. So, you know what I'm saying? You're singling out a group. If you want to do that, you can say, I go about as fast as the guy canoeing. Matter of fact, I've had canoers pass. So, should I pay a lot? If you're going to do it, just do it even for everybody. That's all I got.
Well, but even for everyone could be 5, 6, 7, and 8 all the same.
Then we're going to have a really nice lake, and I'm fine with that.
I just don't want to be the one. You understand, Joe? I said I didn't support that.
Okay, so I'm just saying,
What is the break you're referencing?
Yeah, if you look, the break that I was referencing was, if you look at a maximum weight boat on this lake, which typically Class 5, 6, 7, and 8 can be that maximum weight. Class 5s are cheaper than 6, 7, and 8s per year.
The fees they currently pay is what you're saying?
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
That's what I was trying to.
Okay.
And Kurt, you are correct in it. Yeah, we have members of Lakes and Parks here, and that was the discussion that was had.
Do you want to address
Just,
the,
well,
come on up, Tom.
To add to Kurt's point, which was exactly what we talked about, was when you look at usage of the lake and resources that it costs this community to have the lake, the dredging, the water patrol, all the things that we all like, it doesn't matter if you have a 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, and you're tooling around the big lake. You use the same amount of that lake in a Class 5 or 4 or 6 or an 8. It really doesn't matter. So that was another part of the conversation when we came up with the I guess potential increase.
So, could I ask a question?
Yes.
So, why is class 4 not included?
Because you guys voted that down last year.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so that is definitely something that, for the audience to hear, last year Lakes and Parks made a recommendation to the board that included class 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, all at the same price, as a simplicity, because if everyone pays the same price for any general motorized boat, and then I do believe that class 2s were a separate, which is the less than 10 horsepower. But again, that was proposed last year. The board last year did not go along with the Lakes and Parks recommendation and kept the, I'll call specialty boats, which are the 6, 7, and 8, at a higher price than the 5, 4, 3 boats. This is another recommendation from Lakes and Parks. The board definitely appreciates the Lakes and Parks time and effort in coming up with their decision, their recommendation. But as a board, we have to decide whether we agree with it or not. And obviously, your input is helpful in us determining which way we should go forward.
Patty, me, yes. Hi, I'm Patty.
Come on up, Patty. You gotta sit in the hot seat. You gotta get recorded.
Hi. Come on, Patty. Hi, Joe. It's so nice. I know one of ya. Hey. But anyway, I have a question. I would really like to know, how come we can't roll the fee instead of attacking each, or not attacking, that bad word, but instead of raising each individual entity of ours versus golf course versus pool versus whatever, or the water? Why can't we raise it under one identity and just say, okay, we're going to raise our homeowners to this across the board? And wait, let me finish. I know what you're getting ready to ask me. I really do, because everybody has asked me that already. I hope I know, but let me finish. Why can't we raise it across the board so that we don't just have to keep attacking each individual spot that gives money, or that money comes from, the resource comes from?
The simple answer is that our bylaws don't allow for that.
But
we can't raise your amenity fees. Or we can't raise your yearly annual assessment.
So what you're telling me that is that the bylaws is gonna okay it for you to raise it over here for association fee, over here for water, over here for land, and over here for the restaurant. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't think I understand your line of questioning. So what I'm understanding from you is you're asking, why can't we make your annual assessment cover the increase that we need?
No,
correct?
Even if we had to raise that, and even if we do have to raise something, why do we have to go 48% right off the top? Like,
it wasn't 48%. It wasn't 48%, ma'am. Why do I have to wait to correct it?
Because 48% is what went across to everybody that I got it from, too. And maybe I am misspeaking, but everywhere I got it from, off all the social media, off of the websites today, said 48% it was being raised.
Was that correct?
For water.
For class
For
5
the
boat.
boat.
So we've been through that.
Class 5.
Right.
But why do we have to do that?
We didn't.
But you're not letting me finish. Why do we have to even consider that? Why can't we just decide to do it in more increments? So it doesn't, because there's so many people out here that live on fixed income.
That's why we're having the discussion. That's why we haven't implemented anything, because we're listening to you.
And it wasn't a
Well, that's what I
40%
wanna bring it
increase
up.
either. That was proposed.
So that's why my question came.
Fair enough.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
Big up, Barry.
Kyle Pepperman?
How we doing? Kyle Copperman. So I will go ahead and address the elephant in the room. So I was mistaken on my post on Facebook, and thank you for your husband pointing it out.
It's my fault.
I thought that the current rate at the class 5 was at 220. It's actually 256. So it makes it to where we are looking at an increase of just shy of 27% instead of 45% that I stated online. And it's also, I misspoke on something else and I made the change in there as quickly as it was pointed out. It is correct. It is from 100 horsepower up to 150 horsepower is what class 5 hits.
No, 220. V6. Got to throw a V6 in there.
And then on the V6, outboard or inboard outboard motors. So, like I said, I apologize on this side and over here. And it's, just like everybody else, I don't understand. I appreciate, Kurt, you sharing that on why, because I think that was really the first question everybody has is why it's coming this way and why class 5 is being addressed as the one that we're going to target. I don't see it as it's all things have been set up. I've lived out here since 2004. And unless I'm mistaken, since I've been out here since 2004, we've always had classifications. And I've owned a boat, Joe. I mean, I'm really good at buying boats. I'm really shitty at getting rid of them. I've got one in my garage right now that I registered out here and I haven't put on the water yet this year. I mean, I love the lake out here. I love where I live. I love all of it. If we are in need of money, and I understand the whole deal in regards to us, because of how the bylaws are written, you can only increase things so much, so now we're going after the amenities, use tax versus anything else, right? I understand that. And I love the place that I live in, and I know it takes money to upkeep it, and I want it to keep getting nicer. I don't endorse us going after one specific class of boat, because I don't feel like, as we're looking at class 5 boats, I don't feel as if a class 5 boat is the same as what we're referring to as the specialty boats, right? I mean, if we're gonna say that the reason why it's always been based off of horsepower, and I don't think it's a bad program. I just think now we're changing the program because it works better for certain groups. If we're talking about damaging to the lakes, then class 8 boat should probably be the one that we're really taxing extra. The class 7 boats, we've made exceptions for, and we're now up to a 250 horsepower motor for that boat. But yet on my boat that's rated for a 250 horsepower, I can't have it. And then you have, ski boats. The arguments all over the place for that. And there's a lot of them, and I'm glad they're here because I really like the ski team and all the stuff that they do. Where I had an issue with this as the biggest part is just clarity, right? And that's from what I understand with this board is that's the way that we're hoping to change and have more clarity on things and everything else. It didn't get perceived that way. Everything got posted out there on Friday. People got emails today and meetings today. So it's just not enough time for people to, I felt like we were singled out is what I felt. And I don't understand. Thank you, Kurt, for explaining that. But I don't understand how that falls into play. If that's the case, and that's the philosophy we're going with, then every boat that's on the lake should all be the same. But we know. But it won't pass. It won't pass.
That was presented to the board last year,
We didn't have this big of an audience, trust me, when that was presented. But,
Because you don't advertise what you're going to talk about in your meetings.
but the board did not follow
Don't answer the question.
the recommendation. I'm supposed to say how I addressed 12 months ago advertising whether we,
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not.
that's in the background. I have no way to solve that.
Working very hard to make sure that you're all informed.
And you're all here because of
You're all
the
here because of
transparency,
that.
so let's put that to rest right now. That's why you're here, is because it was put out there. And that's why we're not acting on it for 30 days. So you don't have the floor, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
So I appreciate everybody coming in and commenting. That's what we need. That's what we're here for. Ultimately, we want your input. We need your input.
And I'd like to reiterate what Kurt mentioned a minute ago, because the term singling out, I'm a class 5 program. Singling out is the wrong term. It's the wrong mindset for what we were trying to do. I know that that's what it feels like, but and I shouldn't say what we're trying to do, because I'm saying what was proposed in this was the idea to level all of those classes together as being basically you get certain benefit out of your boat that you love that I don't get out of mine, but I get some out of mine that you don't get, but we're both enjoying the lake equally. And so the idea was to try and level the 5, 6, 7, and 8. And maybe that's a terrible idea, I'm not sure, but we'll see. I think there's some people here that really feel strongly one way and some that feel strongly the other way. But it wasn't a singling out of class 5 boat owners in any way. It was trying to evaluate how people are using the lake and kind of putting a value on it that is outside of the norm for your horsepower, the historic horsepower. So even to your comments, where it's kind of all over the map. You've got a boat that's in a class that you can't have an engine for, but this guy can have an engine for it, where it's all a mess. It's like, we're just going to stop the mess, and if you want to come out and enjoy the lake in this wide parameter, in this feet. But that was the point. And I just want to be clear, nobody was singling anybody out.
And I appreciate that. So it obviously this got put out on social media, which a small group of people commented on things, right? But a lot of phone calls came in. Sure. I got an opportunity to talk to way more people today than I wanted to.
My phone blew up today.
So it was good because I got to listen to other people's opinions, not just come in here with just my own, right? And it's I don't think that the horsepower thing's broken. I mean, I understand what you guys are doing. You guys are being forced to make it. You're being forced to push this issue because of how the bylaws and things are written and how people have voted on those things.
Partially.
But that doesn't necessarily make it right? It's there's a lot of things that I heard today from people on the fact of, Ian has shown, didn't talk before, he came in here today, but I got 3 phone calls from people that were basically telling the same thing. They're saying, I got an old pontoon boat that needs a tune-up, it needs this, it needs that, I'm barely keeping the boat on the lake, and I'm gonna pay the same as a class 8 wakeboard boat. It's, and then, other people, man, the whole horsepower thing and moving them into this category where they're gonna pay the same amount of money as what a ski boat, a fishing boat, and a wakeboard boat, that, okay, so they can have a 250 horsepower motor, they can have a V8 motor in their boat, and I can't have that, but I'm gonna pay the same amount of money as them? I mean, that's actually a category that I fall in. I would rather pay for my horsepower on my boat and let me put a 250 on it. That way, just like the Anglers Club, and this is another topic, but it falls into the same category. Just like the Anglers Club, it makes it where they're competitive in fishing tournaments. I can't take my 24-foot tri-tune to Table Rock Lake, Mark Twain, Lake of the Ozarks, anything else, because I'll get capsized because I don't have enough horsepower to get that boat out of the water. So
I just think there's a lot of different, this brought out a lot of different feelings with people and stuff, to where I think that that is how people are looking at it, is that it is, sorry, that it is singling out a group. Yeah, and that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Okay, so the finance committee chairman cannot stay much longer. We're gonna take a pause on this discussion. We're gonna have to take on the finance report if there's no objections from the board. And then we'll come back to this, and once again, I'd like to say, if the comment has already been made, if you could decline further comment, we don't need to hear repeat comments. People have made really good, thoughtful comments, and there'll be an opportunity for you to give feedback additionally going forward before anything's done. So,
Thank you, Jim.
The floor is yours, John.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Finance Committee covered a lot of territory this past week, and this discussion was part of actually old business. Finance Committee did defer to, therefore concur with the analysis.
Can't hear you.
They're addressing. Come on up if you can't hear. Do the best you can.
Don't do that. Keep it there. Keep it there. All right. So we, one of the things we've been looking at, and I think my comments in our committee report, I put some of this discussion in context, because we're facing higher costs. We're facing higher costs for everything. Inflation's hitting us hard. And what we're in the process of evaluating as a committee, with Heather's help and data presented by her on an ongoing basis and a work in progress, again, I will repeat, work in progress, is what does it take to maintain our docks, our lakes, all the facilities? What's the replacement cost? We know there's $500,000 for the pool. That's what's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point in time. For that reason, the discussion and work in progress is the looking at the concept of establishing extra reserve funds specifically for dock replacement or pool replacement for the very roof on this building, believe it or not. We have a reserve fund, we have an assessment reserve, we have a dredge reserve. We all know that pretty well. So it is probable that, it is likely that we will need to establish additional reserve funds. Again, that's something that we're working on. So that ties in a discussion on what we're raising on dock fees, what we're raising on boat slip fee, and on boat fees and slip fees, and what costs are those covering? We also talked about, we also decided to amend the investment policy statement. FDIC insurance is quite sufficient. Additional institutional parameters are not necessary, and that is dropped one sentence is being dropped from the investment policy statement. We looked at insurance, speaking of the things that are going up, insurance, and again, that ties into the possibility of a reserve fund, specifically for an extra reserve fund, specifically for roof replacement, and do we change coverages, we change deductibles, and that's something Heather and our insurance consultant, our insurance agent, John, are working on, and come up with some reasonable solutions that have been presented to the board. I'm sure Heather's presented those to the board. And again, some of the things that Heather talked about will be going into and we'll be discussing. Again, I come back and say that the number of things that we're working on, that we're talking about right now, tie into the fact that costs have gone up significantly, and we really don't know. We know it's pretty high. We really don't know what it costs to replace the new seawall, to replace dock, floating dock
sections to repair those. And that's something that we will be presenting, that we've actually developed. We've actually developed put together a draft statement explaining these needs to the community. We drafted a draft that you have and that we're working on analyzing, presenting as you see fit. With that, do you have?
Well, I think, yeah, we need to go down each motion, speaking up so people can hear what the motions are, and then we would have to vote on those motions.
Okay, we did not.
Got motions.
Oh, that's. It'd be nice to read. That'll be helpful. All right. Our motion is, again, as I mentioned, in concurrence, thank you, Heather. In concurrence with Lakes and Parks that we recommend that you adopt the Lakes and Parks recommendation on those.
So let's stop. That was one motion, right?
That was our motion, but I think that motion is moot.
Well,
let's dispose of it.
Because that's tabled.
Yeah, we need to
Because that is
appropriate.
tabled, that is moot tonight. Okay. I had no idea what was going on there. All right. We are motioning that
Actually, would you make that motion, because we need to formally table it to dispose of it.
Very good.
Per Robert's rules of procedure, I believe. I'm doing the best I can with that.
procedurally, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So,
We motion, Finance Committee motion to the board to recommends that the Board of Directors adopts the Lakes and Parks recommendations for 2024, both documenting the fee increases.
entertain a motion.
I'm motion to table that.
Motion to table. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so it's going to be tabled, and we will formally address this at the next meeting, is the intention. Thank you.
Okay, our next motion is to recommend the Board of Directors approves the 2024 operating budget, which Heather has presented.
Heather, can I ask you a question? Does anything that has been discussed with the boat fees impact that budget?
Yes.
So we probably can't actually approve that until we have disposed of. the
Right,
previous
so
one.
the 2024 operating budget just reflects a 10% overall increase. So I didn't recast based on the Lakes and Parks recommendation, but yes, depending on which way the board goes. it will
So,
impact.
I mean, my gut feeling, I don't know, my gut feeling really matters, but
It can,
is
can
it
be
okay? Can it be tabled? Can it be
yeah,
next month?
I
Okay.
just need it by January.
Okay, so I entertain the motion.
I'll make a motion that we table the operating budget for 2024.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next motion.
Third motion, Finance Committee recommends the Board of Directors approves the 2024 capital budget. Option 2, there's an option 2, which was a lower cost than one of the items in there, and had to do with the Windjammer. It had to do with Windjammer.
So Heather, is this impacted by whether we approve the vote fees or not?
No.
So this one could actually be approved.
Yeah, capital separate.
I would entertain a motion.
Motion to recommend the board approve the 2024 capital budget option 2.
Discussion.
I would like to see that largest project be stripped out of that, so further discussion can be had.
The largest project being this discussed.
The Windjammer
boardwalk.
So, now, that would tie in, or that would tie into the next motion here, but maybe we should tie those together, that improving the capital budget, and that we reviewed, I think it was 4 different bids that came in, and Stubbs Group had the lowest bid, and with a good reputation of getting the work done, a history of reputation of getting the work done, properly, on time, on budget, and it's for the Windjammer Boardwalk replacement, and so we're recommending that the board accepts that bid.
I just want to be clear that it is not the Windjammer boardwalk replacement, it's removal.
It is a replacement, which is a removal of the boardwalk and putting in bulkheads to hold the dock.
The boardwalk's not
No,
going to be.
correct, that is correct, that is correct, yeah, that is correct. It's a modification, it's a replacement of an existing structure with a modification, boardwalk doesn't need to go away. But the
So-
walkway on the dock,
Motion.
on the dock, the floating dock.
Okay, I'm sorry for this, but I think the motion to recommend the capital budget is contingent on approving or disapproving the Windjammer Boardwalk replacement. So I think we need to withdraw the motion to replace the capital budget, the motion to approve Studs' bid for Windjammer Boardwalk replacement. Everybody agree with that? I would entertain a motion to, related to the recommendation for the BOD Board of Directors to approve the Studs' bid for Windjammer Boardwalk replacement.
Motion to recommend the board approves the Stutz bid for Windjammer Boardwalk replacement option 2.
I'll second.
All right, discussion? I think personally, from my point of view, this is a project that has been underway for a long time. It looks to me like Finance, Lakes and Parks, and E&F have all done their due diligence on this, and all of them have recommended that we go with this particular bid. So my feeling, although I don't have a vote on this, I would urge the board to vote yes. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries 4-1. Now, I would entertain a motion to recommend the Board of Directors 2024 capital budget option 2.
Okay, motion to recommend the board approves 2024 capital budget option 2.
Any discussion? All approved, or all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries. Okay, so there we disposed of those items. Now we're on to the Board of Directors to renew the Lake St. Louis insurance policy with recommended changes.
Yes, motion that Finance Committee were recommending that you renew or renews our insurance policy and with recommended changes that you have, and which Heather and I'm sure change it, we'll discuss it,
Is this something that we're prepared to vote on?
If we need to discuss afterwards, I can go over the particulars of what they recommended. I didn't want to put it in the minutes because of,
Okay.
I don't want to make the CA a target for,
Yeah, right. Okay, so, I think we should table this for right now. And this would actually be handled in executive session because of some of the.
Does
yeah,
this need to be decided by first?
yes. So that's what I mean, if we need to finish discussing that after, I can explain what finance recommended.
So, yeah.
So I make a motion that we move that to executive session after this meeting.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next one.
Last one's the easiest part, so we say the easiest for last, and that is we're recommending a motion here recommending that Article 3 in the investment policy statement last year, that we remove the CAMO and IDC requirements. FDIC insurance is sufficient to cover our current investments, and the language is in the language to be deleted is in the investment policy statement copy.
They
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I think that you did the research, and I think that those requirements are actually not available to the average person, so.
Data, if that's correct, CAMEL data is confidential, it's confidential in the banking industry, it's not divulged to the public, and we are getting that information. IDC, I personally researched IDC, I couldn't find it at the FDIC website, so, again, FDIC insurance is quite sufficient if we all, the industry goes on.
I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept finance recommendation to remove Article 3 of the recently created investment policy, eliminate the CAMEL and IDC requirements.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, all opposed? Motion carries. I believe, not that.
Thank you.
Finance report.
Last comment I'm making that may help with the discussion of, this main discussion of the evening is, again, our costs are going up. And what we're in the process of doing is finding out just what it takes to maintain, not just maintain, but replace capital stock, capital equipment that pertains to the lakes, lake stocks and so on. Boat fees, of course, tie into that. So, again, if you do table this, maybe it could end up tabling this issue until we have clearer data on that analysis, and we're able to present that. We finish our analysis with Edwards Howard, and we will present that. And then I think there could be a greater understanding, opposition otherwise, there would at least be a greater understanding of the necessity.
Which I think would be key, which people I think would greatly appreciate to have to understand the fact that the way that inflation really is impacting the CA and why we need to look at ways of generating extra revenue for the next year. So that is, that's appreciated. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I think so. So everybody okay with going back to comments related to the boat fees?
Yep.
How many more people do we have on the list there?
Dozens?
That sounds like my name. You said Tamara.
Yeah, Tamara.
It works. Tamara, Tamara. I was one of the three. Hi. So I just want to make a couple comments. I don't know half of what y'all are talking about. Okay, let me be clear. I don't know much about boats. We have one. My husband does all this, but he's not here, so he sent me. I don't understand it. But I will say that perception is reality, right? So all night so far, people they feel a way about how it's being presented and how they felt when they heard it. But coming from you all, this sounds like, well, that's not what we're saying, but it doesn't matter what you're trying to say now. It matters how it's received, right? I didn't hear about this from any of you. I didn't know about this meeting. I didn't even know where the meeting was. I heard about it from a friend, from a friend, from a friend. You're not putting the information out there in a way that's easily accessible for all of us to understand exactly what is going on here, okay? And I'm also a little confused because he's going to ask me, so I'm going to ask you how we come up with these percentages. You said that someone made a statement that it was around 40% that was incorrect, right? You guys corrected it and said, no, it's not 40, it's 26. 26% is still a lot to some people. We all might not have that 26% today. I don't know. What I do know is that it's an increase that I don't fully understand. Why not go gradually? If it needs to be increased, why not do a gradual increase? Or why not explain in a better detail how we came to that number exactly? Because to me, if I hear someone say 46, I know Mike, right? Let's say Mike told me 46. I'm going to believe him before I believe you. I don't know you. Okay? But numbers don't lie. Facts are facts, right?
46% was not a fact.
I understand. I got that. But the way it came across was as if it were. And for some people, they're not hearing me. Right? Even at 26%, 26% is a big number. It's a big jump. And I need to be able to explain to him why we need this 26% increase, especially if we don't know why or how much the other increases are. The finance gentleman just sat here and said, we know it's going up, but we don't know how much. But then you automatically tell me how much I need to increase. I don't understand that. So I just need a little bit of help there.
Well, I guess my reply would be, if you don't even know when this meeting is, how are we supposed to communicate with you? I mean, we have attempted to communicate in many different ways. And so you know,
So we have a CA Facebook, which is not like St. Louis Neighbors.
Okay.
Everybody tell me, I do not read like St. Louis Neighbors, it is not our page, and I'm not gonna respond to the interesting content that gets posted on there. It's the LSLCA. And
Okay.
it has our little black and white logo on it, that's how you know it's the real one. And then if you're not on it, we do have an email blast list. So I personally sent out the e-blast for this Friday because we were closed, but I needed to do.
Yeah.
So if you're not, my information's on the website, just shoot me an email and I'll make sure you are getting me. So what I presented as the general manager for budget was 10% across the board. And the reason I came to that is because this year at this current moment, we are in the red by about 160,000, which we have never in the last 10 years and never since I've been GM been in the red.
Okay.
So, and a big part of it's inflation. So our repairs and maintenance costs were super high, our equipment and supplies are super high, we're working it a little early, which does cost gas for all that equipment. And then I hired extra labor. The restaurant's been booming, they've had extra labor, so we are dealing with the same thing we all are, like on an individual level. But the biggest thing that really kicked us was our insurance renewal payment for our liability insurance at 30% for next year, which is about a $45,000 increase. So when I was doing my budget, because I can't raise assessments without, it's not even me, we can't raise assessments without a vote. In 25, we're gonna get a $50 increase per household, so that'll bring in like an extra 200,000 a year, which will get us through until 28, when we really need to talk about another increase. But to get through next year without another huge deficit, the 10% was gonna get us about 100 So I came to it via money, now then, budget, basically, like how do we keep sustaining what we have? That all goes through committees, and so you heard like some parks had a input that they wanted to put on it, and finance just reviewed and said, you know, we're gonna go with what Lakes and Parks recommended, and so then it comes back to the board and ultimately they decide. So the 10% is necessary, it's not just a spitball number, and a lot of it is, like I said, it's our costs are just out of control, which everyone's on, we all are.
I was gonna say, now I understand that.
my insurance, my home insurance went up
Well,
$800.
That's because, so as an insurance agent across the board, everyone's insurance is going up.
Yeah, I mean, so it's just another
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
on top.
So,
And,
Yeah, but you don't.
Floor, sir. Appreciate it.
Well,
I appreciate it.
I'm not mad that you piggybacked on me, you know, it's all good. But what I'm saying is, I appreciate that information. Had I understood that walking in, I would have felt differently. So it's all about how that information is being laid over. I understand that you guys are trying to do things in a better way, in an easier way, in a way that's meant for everybody to understand. However, the perception is still what our reality is. That has not changed for us. You know, it have changed for you sitting on that side of the table. But we're sitting out here where you might have been at one point in time, asking the same questions.
So
So
all
I
that
get that
information
now,
was
and
though at the finance committee meeting also. So there are meetings and those meetings are open to everybody. And I was at that meeting and I knew all this information because I attended, not because I was a board member, but because I attended that meeting.
Got you.
So
how did you know about that meeting?
Through the, I mean, it's posted out there.
I got you.
Yeah.
So it's posted out.
I get emails, like I'm on the email distribution.
And see, I've never gotten an email. I've lived out here for 3 years and I've never received an email.
Yeah.
You all have my email, but I'll give it to you again. Not only do you guys have mine, but you have my husband's email as well, and he doesn't get it either. So I hear what you're saying, but if I did not get the information, it's not a factor of I wouldn't have shown up to a meeting. Of course I'll show up if I want the information. However, if I didn't know the meeting existed, how am I supposed to show up to it? That's like saying there's parent-teacher
And
conferences,
you can
but
go
not
out
giving me
to our
the
Lake St. Louis Community Association website and we post all the meetings out there.
Yeah.
Information,
I understand,
now you're informed
but there,
and
you know, you also got to understand, not just me, I'm young enough to understand how the internet works, but there's people in this area that are a lot older and they don't use the internet.
Yeah.
So how do they get the
They can
information?
come up here to the CA. I mean, there are ways.
I got
mean,
you.
So, but this is what we need to do. We have to have a dialogue
Yeah.
and talk about it. So those were 3 ways right there. And we can continue to post that information out
Yeah.
there on our, I mean, I don't know what more can we do. You can physically come to meetings, you can go to the website, you can get emails. What is another suggestion?
We're not
I
gonna
don't
come
know,
knock on your
maybe
door.
when
I'm
everyone
asking.
first comes out here and when we first moved out here, we came out here, we filled out a crap load of paperwork, right? Why not establish an extra email and make sure you have what you need then?
That'd be great.
Why not, do it on an end or on a spectrum that's a little bit simpler of a process for everyone
Yeah.
that's involved? There's other ways to do it.
Yeah.
And ways to spread the word,
I'd like to address a couple things. 'Cause
Yes.
as somebody who's new to the board and is really trying to make some inroads on some of the frustrations that you've got, and someone who has been abundantly frustrated with this body over the years, not anybody here in particular, but
I think we understood what you meant.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And as far as communicating, we've got, different avenues that we're going to try to explore to help. Even me, I'm on the board. The only reason that I get the emails is because I just got a new email address for the board.
Yeah.
I don't get the emails to my personal address, and I've been trying to get them for a long time. So something is broken, and I recognize that.
Mhm.
But I want to say something about how we got here and why this room is so full of the people that are here. Is that the agenda went out on Friday, the 24th. Today's the 28th, 4 days ago. I hadn't seen the agenda before then. I didn't know what was going to be on the agenda. Just the same as all of you were surprised by what's on the agenda. I wasn't totally surprised because I went to the finance meeting and the meetings that they discussed this stuff. But I want to make it clear that the way the order of operations that got us to this point is, forgive me if I get it out of order, but on Monday, Lakes and Parks meets and they talk about these things and they make some recommendation based on their perspective. Mm-hmm. Then the next day, E&F basically chews on the same bone and they make a recommendation based on their perspective. And if we don't go to all of those meetings, we have no idea what their recommendations are until we get the agenda for this meeting. So, I got a text from somebody not actually in this room today, but hey, what is going on here? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I didn't read the agenda when I first got it. And so I had to go into it and I had to read it, but I was learning it for the first time then as well. And so we are here to talk, we're here to discuss those recommendations coming from those bodies.
Right.
So there's no decision necessarily that's going to get made. And I think as a body, we had decided that we weren't going to make a decision on this. It's a hot button topic and it's far reaching.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that it's understood that there's no backroom dialogue happening on this. Like we're all scheming to raise number 5, class 5s up a certain percentage. These are all recommendations that have come down, and they all happened within the last last 2 weeks. I guess Thanksgiving's kind of getting in the way, so 2 weeks. And that's kind of just a history of how we got here.
I think we all understand that. Like I was saying, it's not that we don't get that. It's
5
that
minutes.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's the way that it came across. And the way that it came across was as if this is something we're going to make a decision on today, until we got here and you guys decided to table it. So I'm going to step back.
We had decided previous to coming in here that it was a big enough deal that it needed to have public discourse.
I got you. But
yeah,
your paper doesn't say that.
No, right. There was motions made. You're correct.
Right. So that was my point.
Yeah.
If that's the
Fair.
case, then your paper
Fair.
needs to say that so we understand.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done.
Thank you very much for your thoughtful comments. As a rule, as we go forward, we are going to try to make sure 100% of the time that when there are big things that we do give time for comment before we make implementations. So that is part of the program going forward. So we got time for a couple of more comments.
But it's set up like.
Does anybody else want to, Barry, do you want to address this at all?
Hi, my name is Barry Beresford. I am the Secretary of Lakes and Parks Committee. I'm a resident of Lake St. Pardon?
No, not you.
Back there.
Resident of Lake St. Louis since 1986. I sympathize with some of the earlier comments about horsepower being the yardstick by which we established boat fees. Those preceded my time here, so it was pre-86. Boat configurations and boats in general, their ability to impact water quality, size of wakes, and so forth, have changed over time, over the decades that I've lived here. And the biggest thing that affects the water quality on the lake is the weight of the boat.
Excuse me, Barry. Barry's got the floor. Please be quiet back there. Thank you.
Is the weight of the boat. We have tried over the years in lakes and parks to come up with a more equitable yardstick for boat fees without success. Insofar as suggestions that we have made have not been acted upon for a variety of reasons, which I'm sure the then voting members of the board felt that it was the right decision at the time. The simplicity of horsepower was very compelling. But the reality was that we weren't doing ourselves any favors in terms of charging the highest fees for boats to have the highest potential for impacting water quality and the impact that it has on CA retaining walls, CA rental docks, marinas, and so forth. So this is what we've recommended this time to the board is another simple approach to try to come up with a more equitable and wise understanding of which boats are the ones that need to pay to play the most. And as a class of boats, as we currently define those classes, class 5s are it. We are not singling them or targeting them as a punitive measure. We're doing it in terms of fairness. The people who have the class of boats that have the largest impact are the ones that it seems fair should pay to play. And we're not asking for them to be higher than class 6, 7s, and 8s because we figured that would be politically, as in not well received, shall we say? There's been discussions that say class 5 should be the highest of all. Now you can argue that class 8s might deserve to be higher. I won't debate that. I think that's a good argument to have. But what we thought was that from a perception of fairness, that moving class 5s up to the 6, 7, and 8 level of fees was the right thing to do. And it certainly is an appropriate thing to do in terms of water quality impact and usage on the lake, impact on retaining walls, and impact on rental docks that all of us have to pay for. So, any of you all have any questions on anything I just said?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Barry. Yeah, we got room. We got time for about 2 or 3 more comments, guys. We can't stay here all night.
I just have a question.
No, is there a line?
Okay, I'm sorry. That's a point of order that I just made a mistake.
Kathy Crowley.
Kathy Crowley.
Do it, Catho. Good evening. Thank you all for doing what you do. We all do it for free, and it's a lot of work. I guess I understand we're here because we need to raise more income to maintain this beautiful. I personally feel the free or the best way to do all of this would be everybody who is on the lake, whether it's the small lake, because I don't ever hear generation of income coming off of the small lake on their little 10 horsepower motors. I hear it all coming off of the large lake. I know it costs a lot of money to maintain that small lake too. I think they have a little skin in the game and they need to be addressed as well. And as a homeowner on the large lake, it costs me tens of thousands of dollars to maintain my seawall so that everybody can enjoy the lake, and I'm good with that because I chose that. And that's all I have to say about that. Spread the love around to everyone. We all love the community. Everybody has to pay to play. And as far as, I really, really, really think we have to come up with a better way of communicating what is going on with the community. I know more about I'm on every email, I'm on a committee for the area here, and, I've signed up for everything, and I know more about what the food is going to be at this place than anything else. Whatever they're doing in the restaurant, to get that email through to me, I get that thing religiously. So if we could maybe come up with a way, I'm on the golf committee, if we could be more transparent on the golf committee and work on getting emails out, that's on us, as that committee, to the community. You guys getting your stuff out to the community, on you guys. Whatever they're doing at this restaurant, we need to figure that out and mimic them. And I think we'd all be more informed, and we could get along better in the sand together and feel like we're working together instead of you guys over here and us over here. I heard a lot of that tonight. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Thank you. As just a I believe there's not supposed to be alcohol in these meetings, correct?
No.
I don't, so if you got alcohol, keep it hidden. I'd like to not see it.
Tom Schaefer.
Tom Schaefer, and then maybe one more after that, if everybody's okay.
I'll say something.
How about we put some, let's make we stand, does anybody have something to say to that? Said?
Can I just ask her? Yeah, I mean, I think I do. I mean, it's been beaten like a dead horse of why we're paying, why we're being, looked at to have a higher fee for our boats, but, if this is a horsepower thing, is it being concerned that the class 5 boat are usually tied together in various coves and not glazing up the lake? And in evaluating how people are using the lake, to Aaron's point, boats 6, 7, 8 are the hard use applications to the layman anyway. If inflation is the issue, there have been many ideas presented where the community can make more money that doesn't fall under giving the community more money for something we already have.
Bars and restaurants.
Well, I mean, that's going to cost money to make money, but, you know, there are other things like how we're using the one venue on the lake, you know, how are you supposed to fill up that dam bar when now you're putting a band in the place where we're supposed to sit? So, you know, it doesn't, some of the things don't make sense to us, but, you know, neither does paying more for something we already have. So.
Thank you. The gentleman behind you?
No, is the increase because of the impact of the lake and the seawalls? Is that why you're picking on the class 5, or what's the reason?
No, I think I think let's not say picking on them.
Okay.
Let's say
singling them out. Okay.
Well, the way that they explained is that they felt like the Lakes and Parks Committee feels like the impact that the class 5 boats have is similar to 6, 7, and 8, and therefore it should be the same as that. Right. That's what they're saying. They feel like they're catching up where it should be.
Also, use the resources.
Right, because they similar amount of resources.
I've had 2 different class 5 boats. One a runabout that, you know, is probably.
I have one question. Who's in chair?
Hang on, the guy behind you had the floor, then we'll get you guys.
I just want to say that a class 8 and a class 5 pontoon, if you look at usage, a class 8, they're going to fill up their ballast, they're going to do circles and pull tubes around. It's going to make a lot bigger wave than a class 5 going 16 miles an hour because they got algae on the bottom of the boat, getting to a party cove to sit all day. It's not going to impact the lake like a class 8. Put them in the same category. Move them down to a class 4.
That's what I was going to say about
You know
my
what I mean?
class 5.
Class 8 is way more than class 5.
Duly noted. We got time for Josh?
I just have one quick question, and I know Tom O'Connor, he.
Don't throw my name out there.
No.
Where do you know him from?
He grew up here about the same time I did. My parents grew up here in 1972. I don't know how many people here have been here since 1972.
So how does that matter?
That they want to complain about stuff. Things were good back then. Just get it right, man.
Thanks, God.
I've been here since 2013. I first moved here, I had like a 24-foot pontoon, which put me in a class 5. Then I bought a new one, and it was like a 2015, I could only go to 115. Now we're at a 125. But guess what? I'm paying the same price for my dock fee as no matter what size. Right? So why can't we just all, we're paying the same price for a dock, same price for just having a boat no matter what class it is.
So my canoe would be the same price as Class 8?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
If you're gonna put it in the dock.
Yeah, if you're gonna park it on the dock.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably.
Okay.
Duly noted, it's something that we discussed.
All right.
Thank you. All right, this is the last comment, guys. You can't stay on.
I've been a member here since 1990, homeowner. I feel like, and this is a word of caution to you, the board, that you're going down and making the same mistake that you made several years ago when you raised the the association fees for our new members and not the rest of you. And then you came back and said, hey, let's make it equitable for everybody. And the membership spoke and said, that's fair. Everybody pays the same.
I will.
I'm not done.
Okay.
So, I feel like you're making a mistake by singling out one group. If you're gonna raise it 10% across the board, fine. Make it 11% across the board, so everybody is equitably charged the same amount. I'm not saying 5, 6, 7, and 8 should pay the same as 5, but make the increase equitable across the board, because I think you found through the vote when we came to this, asked for an increase in assessments, that the community felt that was fair, and you got your increase.
I think as a person that is familiar with the assessment increase, I would say most likely you've read the table wrong. I don't think if we wouldn't have stuck it to the new members, I don't think we would have got the assessment increase through at all. By sticking it to the new members, we got enough people to vote yes. Then, after half a decade or longer, we had enough new members here that they were upset that they were spending more than the old members. So then the vote pulled it through. Otherwise, we might still be voting for the first increase.
Well, I can speak for myself. I voted because it was fair, and I didn't know.
And I would argue that this is the same exact thing. So from your perspective, it was fair, and I was grandfathered in. But from your perspective, it was fair, and as you say, everybody thought it was fair. When we singled out the people that were paying less, and all of a sudden made them pay more to bring it up to an equitable playing field. This is, in some people's opinion, the same thing where Class 5s they've been grandfathered in at a lower rate for a long time, even though.
Well, obviously, I just don't agree with you.
Well, I'm just telling you what the logic is. So some would view that as being equitable by freeing them up to where they should be, and there should have never been
Then why not 4? Why not 3? Because that doesn't hold your argument.
That's a good question.
I'm just saying your argument doesn't hold water. If you're going to raise it 10% across the board, then so be it. But don't single out one group and make them pay 27%.
Thanks for your comment.
Well, we can do this, or we can do Class 5, and then we can do this, and we can do that.
That's what we're doing right now, discussing what the options are. So I'm pretty sure we beat it to death. And I appreciate everybody's thoughtful comments. They are received in the spirit they were given, and we are going to move on to the other committee reports. With all due respect. So I think that we've gotten very loud and clear, and I appreciate. So if that was your only issue, then you're free to leave, and we will move on to so there will be an opportunity for you to comment. Okay. So we're not done with
Engineering and finance has two motions to make that were already made. My name is Jerry Harris. And they were taken care of by the finance committee and they were both approved.
So you're square? Okay. Sorry to all of you, committee that made today really late. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate everybody's patience.
That wasn't fun. We know
That
that.
wasn't done, so we'll come back to that right now. Sorry, Matt. You just got the one motion that we put in that we tabled, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry?
Did you do ACC?
We did not do ACC. I was gonna do ACC next, but
Yeah,
are you
no,
okay with that? Okay, ACC? Now, before you go, well, did everybody look over all the ACC recommendations? Just, so it seemed to me as if one of the things that we looked at, that this is pretty much housekeeping, moving things. There isn't very much controversial here.
Well, there's some, there are new things that are added in that have not been addressed.
Okay, let's discuss.
But before we get to those, the first item on the agenda is that the ACC is recommending that the board approve a motion to extend my term on the board for another 3-year period, because my term expires in December. They're also proposing.
I motion to extend her position on the board.
I'll second.
Any discussion? I think anybody that has enough patience to go through this meeting, all of us still be extended. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
So the second motion that the ACC is recommending is that board member Bob Menzel, who is here, who you all had appointed as an alternate member, to make his position a permanent position, because one of our members, Ellen Kressel, her term expires in December, and she has decided not to seek a second term. So Bob will go from being an alternate member to a regular member of the committee.
Are you Bob?
Yes.
You want to be on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I make a motion that we recommend Bob Menzel to become a permanent member with the term expiring in 2026.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
So I'm not sure how, there are a number of proposed changes. I actually have a color copy of it, which makes it easier to get through and to see them. I can go through each one of the items individually, or?
One of the things that I thought may make sense in the interest of time would be to go through them all and then for us to pass them as a lot. Is that?
Based on 27, we're going to these first.
We tabled this last one.
I'm going to say from the ACC's position, there's no critical need to rush these through.
Okay.
It's nothing that, we could get someone proposing something that's impacted by this, but there's nothing on the table right now.
Okay.
I'm saying, I don't necessarily.
Would you propose that we table it again? And since we're going to have a December meeting anyway, and we've already got all of this in here, so I think that we can read through it and make an educated work.
Especially if you get a color copy.
Yeah.
We talked about public comment. Do we want to do that in the interim?
I don't think that anything that is on here really merits, it's mostly housekeeping and a couple of things where they're talking about a little longer.
Well, there's some things in here with regard to privacy screening.
Right.
And things of that nature that some people, I'm going to say different people may have different opinions on what's appropriate.
I don't know why we wouldn't, if we're going to motion to table it, I don't know why we wouldn't get the word out such that we would be deciding at the next.
Okay, can you put that out, put these changes, proposed changes out, Heather, for discussion, for public comment, and then we'll vote on them next month? You okay with that?
Yes.
Then a motion to table will be entertained.
Motion to table the ABC motion for next meeting.
Second? All right, all in favor? So I think we're done with you till next month.
Okay.
And then, yeah, all right, thank you very much, thank you for your patience. Beth?
Okay, we have several motions, and I do believe those motions are similar or the same to what finance already approved, which was recommend the CA Board of Directors approve the proposed option 2 capital budget request for 2024. That one was done. Recommend that the CA Board of Directors approve Missouri Docks donation of new dock materials and labor to restore the existing ski club dock on the north shore of Jefferson Point.
This is something that definitely merits some discussion, I think, so if we can make a motion, and second it, and have
Make a
discussion.
motion, CA board, approve Missouri dock donation of new dock materials and labor for
So the public comment that I received on this was that they were concerned that there was gonna be unacceptable signage.
Correct.
The signage, that issue has been resolved, correct?
Yes, so signage will be the same as what Tiger Docks puts on theirs, which is the
It's
small
a
flag.
ban. Right, okay,
Correct.
okay, so that's certainly something that I could support and thank them for doing that.
And it replaces the old dock in size, the same as what's there.
Exactly the same. It might be a little bit higher, just with flotation.
It's not falling apart and stuff, right?
It's not. It'll be, what's it, Tiger? See that? Thank you. I couldn't think of it either.
Is there any discussion necessary on this? Do you guys?
I don't think any further discussion.
We have received this kind of donation from other people in the past, and I think it's appropriate to accept this one.
Especially if they're going to build more on it or something.
Right, that was the issue, that was the only issue that people were concerned that it might not be going to our CNRs. So it sounds like as long as it does that, I think that I can certainly support it. Any other?
So do we want to put that caveat?
No, I don't think so. I think it's understood that it has to meet into our CNRs, and if it doesn't, it'll be remediated.
I don't have a problem if you put that in there.
Okay, do you want to put it in there?
Signage to be approved.
Yes. Yeah, he was agreeable.
Yeah.
He was gonna do it whether there was signage or not.
Right.
I'm happy with that amendment, signage on dock to be approved by board of director.
Yeah, before it's on.
And
Yeah, second.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if that's exactly Robert's rule of orders, but it's weird that they would keep things together.
our next motion was.
So wait,
Hold on, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm ready.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. There you go. Thank you.
Our next one was the recommend the CA Board of Directors pursue option 2 of the Windjammer Board replacement project as recommended by ENF and award the project to Stutz Excavating, which has already addressed that one. Motion to recommend that the CA Board of Directors approve the proposed 10% 2024 fee increase for amenity fees on boat dock rentals that was brought to us by Heather. So that was just it was brought to us, the 10% for these fee increases.
Right. So.
Well, this was just the amenities and the docks.
This hasn't been tabled yet. We probably need to table this to allow for public discussion and vote on it next month. Would be my guidance on that. So,
Question, Tom, are amenities up for discussion?
Well, you guys made a motion to increase them by 10%.
That was what
I'm
was
asking,
presented to us.
referring it because of the discussion that will be held, or you're all going to have discussions on amenity fee increases? That's my question.
You mean 645?
Well, we broke this thing apart. We knew that those registration fees were going to catch a lot of interest. It did not appear that amenity fee increases and dock rental fee increases were being contested. So you got a clean motion on the two of those to follow Heather's recommendation on it. So we want to act on that tonight.
So historically, the board would act on that tonight. Under some advice we've gotten recently, we feel like allowing the opportunity for the public to be heard and know about it for a month is appropriate on things like this. So my full intention would be to implement this, but we want to give some people time to give us feedback. If they think it should be higher, maybe. Sure, yes.
I understand that, and I think there's a great deal of wisdom in that. I think what you may want to consider is you're really opening up a much broader aperture of discussion here, which is people's perceptions, as one of the people here performed or spoke to. And if you're going to open up the aperture on amenities, you may as well get into a full-blown activity like Heather did with the annual member fee.
So that's
where Heather has the opportunity to broadly show all of the finances, where it's going. Heather did a great job here tonight in terms of commenting about insurance and other large fee increases. I think if you're going to do amenities, my suggestion is open it up to all of the things, because you've got perceptions floating around and you've got websites going nuts. If you don't cover it comprehensively, I think you're going to be, so we won't have heard the last of it come next month.
And that may be true, Barry. One thing I would say to that is that when you're talking about the assessment, the overall annual assessment is what you're talking about. That's a different animal because we don't actually have authority over that. That's
not what I was talking about. I was talking about all the budget items that they're going to deal with. And it will, I can see someone coming in here and saying, well, wait a minute, how much do we subsidize golf? How much do we subsidize the horse for? Is it fair? Is it balanced? Is it true that the dam bar actually makes money? Well, why are we in a position that we don't have some of the other things? Do the gas stocks make money? Well, if we're subsidizing that, why don't we increase gas prices? I can see that kind of a discussion going on operating expenses as well. So all I'm doing is I'm trying to be respectful of the concerns of people saying, well, I don't understand what's going on. All I know is somebody wants to punch class 5 with a 26% increase, and I'm upset about that. Why aren't you attacking other ones as well? It's a broad subject.
I do agree that I do think some clarity, I think somebody within the board has to clarify this information that was sent out. Because we heard one person say, all amenities are going up 45%. That was not accurate. So I do think that moving forward, there maybe clarifying what we knew it because we had been part of the meeting. But not everyone knew it. And when you only read what the motions are, you don't know the context behind it or the discussions that occurred. So, this has a little bit more than what the original
Because
motions
the holiday, a lot of the meeting minutes, and now there's like all the meeting minutes came in late, so I had to go off my notes, as you can see, for every meeting. So it did change more so with this meeting than usual. And I don't know, this is up to years ago, I talked to the moderators of like St. Louis neighbors because there was a lot of misconception that it was a CA run page, and then of course there are people that use that page to spread just complete lies, for lack of a better term, just complete, and they do it because they want the attention. It gets a lot of attention, and then they're just people that do that. So they actually have a post that still is from this conversation at the top of their page that says, this is not a community association affiliated page. And so if anyone, again, fully just speaking my thoughts, if anyone does respond to that post, I would recommend a reminder of that. People want to use that page to spit vitriol, fine, but don't go to it for your facts. Like, we have a Facebook page, we have e-blast, we do the website. And if there are any suggestions on other ways, short of mailing every agenda to every household, which costs $5,000 each time you do it, I don't know how else to talk to people if they want to talk to us. But if they're going to choose those avenues, they're going to get a lot of this information, get really upset, and then sit in this room all night and find out I was told 46%, and it was Which either way, those are high percentages, like I get that, but it's just, don't get your news from those areas.
Mr. Straight, question? I just have a comment, and then I'll try to do it when more people are here. Anybody said, and I'm not a tech head at all, but I found out a couple of years ago, when you guys send out a bulk email like you do, okay? Many people's emails will look at that as spam or junk and go into that box. So people look at their inbox, that's all they look at. Everything you send to me goes to my deleted box. So I know to go to my deleted box to find it. Now, how do you communicate that with other people? I don't know. Maybe it'll take one mailing saying, here, this is what you've got to do. You can't just look at your inbox, you know, look at your deleted box or your trash box or whatever box to find our emails.
Well, we're getting ready to do our assessment mailing, so that might be a good announcement to include on this. If they will read it, that's the other thing, because we put the vote registration deadlines and everything else in there, and you believe me not, every year someone says, I didn't know I had to have my vote registration.
And I found this out the hard way. It was on a review committee. We had like 400 emails, and everything went to my deleted box. And
It goes to my Gmail, my Gmail.
So just to get back on track here, guys, so we're looking at this motion of the CA Board of Directors to approve 10% fee increases for amenity fees and boat dock rental fees. So I think we need to table it, but I think if we're gonna put it up for discussion, people need to understand what amenity fees we're talking about, right? Is that what you're?
My concern is that you're gonna open a much broader discussion.
He's
My
talking about-
suggestion would be to, if your intent is to go, with what Heather's put together as a budget for next year, and it has this 10%, increase, suggestion in it, that she's presented to you, I think you ought to go with that. My suggestion, if I were sitting on the board, my inclination would be to say, let's go with the 10%, let's narrowly focus in on the class 5 issue, and have that to be the primary discussion.
I'll second
You're not allowed to second
So, based on our council's recommendation, I think it is appropriate that we table the amenity fees and the boat dock rental fees until next month. That's a motion.
motion?
Yeah. Make a motion.
Sorry. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I'm fine tabling it, but, I think the issue that we had tonight, and why this topic is different than the vote, is that the vote situation, the registration situation was, not a discussion about raising fees. It was a discussion about raising fees,
In a perceived unfair way.
in an unfair way.
It was. I mean, if you read the Lakes and Parks minutes from our meeting, it very clearly states in there that there's a $27,000 benefit of taking suggestions in order to attack the substantial increases in 2024 operating expenses. That's right in our minutes.
But my point is that the groundswell of attention was focused at not so much at, I mean, everybody, not everybody, but several people that came up here and sat down and said, if we need more money, fine, we need more money. But do it the same across all classes. That was, I don't want to say it was consensus, but like, that's what I heard. So I guess my point is, and I'm fine with tabling it, but I feel like the raise in amenity fees and the raise in dock slips, that's an equitable 10% across the board, and it may not require that sort of impact.
So
I would say, I agree with tabling it, but I want to table it because I might vote for 20%. I don't know until I'm able to look at if we're going to keep the class 5 votes down. Then she told me we are in the red 160,000. So what needs to be addressed at the meeting and along with the increase is this is what caused a $160,000 deficit. This is how we're going to attack it. It might be 50% increase in assessment. I don't know, but until I can kind of level that out and say, this is how I get to even, that's what it is. So I want to table it because I really might consider voting 20% across the board. I don't know. I don't know 10%. I know that Heather worked very hard on her budget, but with all this discussion here, I want to take a second look.
So do we have a motion in a second to table it?
Yeah.
No further discussion, then all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion is tabled.
I have two more motions that are on your agenda. One is to reappoint Thomas Pagel for a 3-year term to Lakes and Parks, if he's still in agreement to be on Lakes and Parks. His term ending in 2026, and then also my term ends in this year too. So it would be reappointment of Beth Treadway and Thomas Pagel.
We should do one at a time.
Okay. I'll make a motion to reappoint Tom Mispagel to Lakes and Parks in 2026 in the term.
Any discussion?
I just wonder, but how long have you been on it? Like,
Not as long as Barry.
It's somewhere around
2002.
2001, 2002.
I almost went on the same time you did.
Yeah.
And
So it's been a while, but he was on it before I was.
There's limits on the office that you can, or the office that you can hold, but not on the.
No further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And unanimously.
And I'll make a motion that Beth Treadway gets sentenced to 3 more years on Lakes and Parks.
Yes, for a second. All right, is there any discussion? Beth? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Just so you know, there is still, I believe we still have an opening on Lakes and Parks. Yeah, we meet on the second Tuesday of the month at 7 o'clock. You're welcome to come. And our emails are all posted, and I will tell you, I did not get a single email today. I worked during the day, and I checked my email before I came to the meeting. So if you guys have questions or concerns, our emails are posted.
They blame you for the record. You should get lots. All right, moving along, the golf committee, Mr. Strange.
The golf committee has no report at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe Strange. Alex, sports committee.
I'm still here.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, in the spirit of the golf committee, we too would like to forego any committee report.
You didn't even have
Awesome. All right, aquatics did not meet. So we have an opportunity for general comments from the residents on the agenda. Seems like we had a lot of general comments already.
Yeah.
Seeing no further general comments, we'll move on to general comments by the board members. Tom?
Thanks for coming, thanks for voicing your opinion on everything, I appreciate it. Go back next month and we can discuss this more.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I'm going to comment that we're going to try or hope we can adjust our agenda such that we identify everything that is a topic of discussion without action be identified versus having to table all these items that come up. I think it should be segregated in our agenda so that people know that this is a discussion item and wouldn't be voted on until the following meeting. And have that automatically be part of our agenda process so we show discussion items and voting items automatically. And thanks for attending.
Yeah.
No, I like that. Thank you for continuing to serve on the committee, and thank you for everybody attending. And I would just say too that along with what Kurt has said, that we also in our communication put that we welcome, participation from the residents, that we're doing this because we want to have dialogue, we want to have conversation. So I think the more we reiterate it, that's what I'm hearing from everybody, is that we're not getting the point across that we want to hear from people. So we'll say it till we're blue in the face, I guess, and we'll keep continuing to try to figure out other ways to communicate. But if somebody has a suggestion, like the lady up here, when people move here, maybe we have something laid out. This is when these meetings are. These are phone numbers. I mean, I'm open to things, but I really do feel like we're recording things. We have these meetings. What more can we do? I'm not asking it rhetorically. I really do want to know. If somebody's got a great idea, let us know. Thank you. Yes?
Yeah. You guys do a good job putting out information. I'm very electronically challenged, so I can understand when people don't get everything. But when you move into a community, you have to take responsibility to ask questions, get involved, and don't play the poor me that I didn't know. That doesn't work as an adult anymore. You gotta find that information out for yourself. It's on the bottom of every, and I know people don't always get it, but on the bottom of every calendar, at the very bottom, it's got a list of all the meetings. So if you want to get involved, you gotta choose to get involved and look for your own information. You can't get spoon fed as an adult.
One comment from the guy in the green shirt.
Sorry, I just wanted to comment on what Kurt was saying. In the city, we call those work sessions. So we do a work session, and then we have our meeting to solidify everything. Work sessions never get voted on that evening. Those are always a month or two in advance.
Okay, thanks for the recommendation.
The city guy was.
No, we skipped it. We never.
So
We
you
said
should
every.
skip it. I'm cool with that.
Well, I'm sorry for that. It's not on the agenda, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
I did, okay, well, I'm sorry. So, I'll do the last comment, then we'll adjourn. Thank you all so much for coming. It means a lot. I think this board's on the right track with the transparency. I tried real hard to keep me on track tonight, the best I could, and I appreciate everybody's patience. Thank you.